I use it here. This summation, I can use it here to the left. Okay, I can move this to the left before G1. Okay, Shabab, so I can move this summation before G1. After that, I can swap between these two summations. You have two choices. Okay, let's for example, I move G1 or I move this summation before G1. What will happen, ya Shabab, if I move this summation before G1?
We'll add 1 over G to the H.
If I move this summation before G1, I will add 1 over J at this branch. Okay.
Yes, so it will be multiplied by the H2.
And here G2 will be multiplied by G1, okay?
Okay.
You got the point, Shabab? Because G1 now, G1 at the input. G1 at the input of the summation.
We will move it to output.
Yeah, we move it to the output. So the output will get the same gain. So the output will be G here, G1. But the other input will get 1 over G1.
Okay.
Okay, the other input will get 1 over G1. Let's look for this one. So this will be the next step. I move G1 before the summation. So at the output I get G1, but the other input I will get 1 over G1. Now here we solve the problem. I have here two summations together. I can swap between. Okay, if I move this red one to the left and this black to the right, after that I can deal with this okay. But easy during these steps, I can also do the reduction here because I have G1 and G2 in cascade, so I can replace these two by a single block is equal G1 multiplied by G2. Okay, تفضل. Okay. Okay, so now these two blocks I can replace these two blocks in series by single block, and the gain of this block is equal the multiplication of the gains of these two blocks. And also here I have to do the swap. Okay, the swap between these two blocks. Okay, so let's look for this one. I just swap between the two summation because I have two summation and no blocks between. I can just swap between the two summations. Okay, Shabab. Now I have this loop. Now it is
Go to the previous one.
Which one?
The previous diagram.
You can repeat your question, please.
No, can you go back to the previous diagram?
Okay, this one.
Okay. Well,
now I have these two summation.
Okay.
Okay, I have these two blocks in cascade. Just I replace these two blocks by this block. Okay, and I have these two summations, and not in between. I just swap. I can swap between if I need.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So just I swap here between the two summations. So now I have this loop. I have this loop. This closed loop or parallel, Shabab?
Feedback.
Loop, closed loop.
This feedback loop, yeah. Okay. What's the solution of this one?
G1 multiplied by G2 over 1 plus or minus H multiplied by G1 and G2.
Why plus or minus? Look for the problem. Plus or minus?
Plus.
It's plus.
G1 multiplied by G2 over 1 minus or plus?
Minus, Victor.
Yeah, it should be minus because we use the negative sign, okay? If you have the feedback is negative, so down you will have 1 plus. If you have the feedback is positive, so you have 1 minus.
Right, because the default is minus.
No, not the default in the simulation, okay? In the simulation, no need to add the sign, okay, of the feedback. But here in the blocks usually will give you a positive or negative. If it is positive, so it will be G1 multiplied by G2 over 1 minus, because here is positive feedback. So it will be 1 minus G1 G2 multiplied by the feedback gain.
Okay.
Clear يا شباب?
Clear.
Okay. By the way يا شباب, if you want any help or anything, you can call me anytime. Just give me announcement by WhatsApp or here. Just I will decide the time. After that, I can explain the examples again, if you like. Okay. Bismillah. Okay. So now يا شباب, after we do this reduction to this loop, we look at this loop. We'll get this gain. Okay. So it will be G1 G2 1 minus G1 G2 H1. Okay, شباب. So now this represent a loop as well. Okay. This also represent a loop with a negative feedback. With a negative feedback, you can look here. We have a negative feedback. So the first step, I can do this. I have here 2 blocks in series. So just I multiply this G3 by this gain. Okay, so I get something like this one. So it'll be G1, G2, G3. After that, I can eliminate the loop. So here what we have, shabab, we have the forward gain. So this represents the forward gain. So I assume this is called GB. Assume this all this gain called GB, and this equal GB, or this should be HB. Sorry. Assume this is GB and this HP. So the solution of this loop is equal GB over 1 plus GB multiplied by H by HP. Okay.
Again, Doctor. We assumed what?
Let's assume to simplify. After that, substitute. So the gain,
Okay.
the gain inside this block is equal GB.
Okay.
And this feedback is equal HB. Okay. So the solution of this loop is equal GB over
1 plus
GB multiplied by
HP.
HP. Okay, because it is equal the forward gain over 1 minus the gain of the loop. Okay, the gain of the loop. Okay. So in this case, we have the forward multiplied by the feedback will be 1 minus, or will be 1 plus the GB multiplied by HP. Okay, so we can use the same technique. So we just get something like this one. Okay, we'll get something like this one. Okay, Shabab. So after that, we have this loop as well. This one, we have here a feedback loop, or the last or the outer feedback loop. If you look for this one, this is called, ya Shabab, unity feedback. Okay, this loop is called unity feedback. Okay, because here H equal 1. Okay, this is called unity feedback loop. Okay, so here is unity feedback. So this represents the forward gain. So this assume this is G dash. So G dash, and so the solution of this one will be G dash. If you assume this G dash, okay, so it will be G dash over 1 plus G
Plus, okay, right, because it's 1.
yeah, because here it's 1, H equal 1. Okay, Shabab, so you can get also the solution of this one in terms of this. We need a more step. Okay, we need more step. We cannot stop here. We need another step. Okay, we need another step. Okay, Shabab, so we need to deal with this loop as well, and we can get the solution here. Question, ya Shabab? Any question here? Any question?
Doctor.
Yeah.
So we just use the 6 rows in the slides in order to reduce this
Yeah.
figure, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the trick The trick here, you have to move the peak-off toward the peak-off and the summation toward the summation. This is the trick.
Yeah, but why?
Because if you move the peak-off toward the peak-off, I can swap between. Okay, this will simplify the solution. If you move the summation toward the summation, this will simplify, will give me more flexibility to solve it. If you return back to this one, to this graph, when I move the summation toward the summation, I have two summations now here.
So now in series, right?
Yeah, you like this one. If this summation and no blocks between. Okay, so I can swap between. Easy, nothing between.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I can get something like this one. I can swap between, so I cancel. Okay, let's look for this example, ya shabab. If you solve this one, this will be okay. You can take 1 minute to think on this example.
We should solve it, Doctor, or think about it.
Yeah, we'll solve it. You think 1 minute only.
Okay.
Just I want to answer some questions. Okay, Shabab.
Okay.
How many loops we have here?
1.
How many loops we have in this block diagram?
3 lobes.
2 loops.
5 loops.
1, 2, 3. 3 loops, and the fourth one will be
G4.
4 loops.
G4, G3, and G2. This for barrel or loop?
Parallel, Doctor.
This barrel, okay. G2, G3, H2. This what?
1 loop.
This.
This loop, okay. G2, G3, H2. This a loop, okay. G1, G2, H1. G1, G2. This a loop as well, okay. And we have the outer one, or the unity loop, the last one, okay. So, ya shabab, if you look for this problem, all these problems are coupled, so we don't have any loop clear. For example, if you look for this parallel, these branches of parallel, here this loop is affected by these branches. We need to deal with this branch. Okay. If you look for this loop, G2, G3, H2, This also it is affected by this
by G4 prime.
by this summation. Okay, it is affected by this summation and by this big of. If we eliminate this loop, so we can solve this easy. Okay. Also, this loop is affected by this summation. Okay, and also this pickup. It is easy to start with this parallel. Okay, to start with this parallel, but here we have to deal with this pickup point. Okay, we have to deal with this pickup point, at this one. Okay, so what we should do here يا شباب, I can move this pickup toward the pickup. If I assume this is A and this is B, so I try to move this pickup from this point and before G2. Okay, I try to move this summation, this pickup point from this location to this location.
Then switch the two pickups branch.
Yeah, after that we can switch between the two pickup points. Okay, I can solve this first, after that I can do anything. So when I move this pickup before G2, that means I move the G2 forward. Okay, so what's the gain will be here? If I move G2 forward, so what's the gain will be here?
1 over G2.
Why?
Because we bring the pickup point backward.
Yeah.
No.
This you move the gain now. The gain is at the input.
Yes.
And you move it to the output. So if the gain in the input, so the output you will get the same gain. Because we have linear relation, okay? Okay, so if we have G1 now at the input of this pickup, so the output will get the same gain. Okay, so here if I move this forward, so this will be G. What's about this branch? This input or output?
Which branch, Doctor?
This branch.
It will be.
You look for the sign.
Output.
Output, because usually in the pickup point we have only one input and the other will be outputs. In the pickup point, one input and the rest will be outputs. Okay, if the block is at the input, so all the outputs will get the same gain.
Okay.
Okay, all the outputs will get the same gain. Okay, so let's move this one.
G3 and H1 will be multiplied by G2.
Please, G3
and H1.
Yeah, you're right. G3 and H1 will multiply by this one. Okay, I'm pushing here. What's this? Okay. So I move this forward, G2 forward. That's allow me to move the pickup backward. Okay. So here I move this backup point from this point, from point A or location A to location B. Okay, Shabab? So this I have now the parallel in this shape. Here I have G2 and G3 in cascade. Okay. G2 and G3 in cascade. After that, these two blocks will be in parallel with G4. Okay. Now here I have G2 and G3 in cascade. After that, these two blocks will be in parallel with this block G4. Okay. So here I can replace this one by this block will be G2 multiplied by G3 plus G4. In this case, I eliminate this summation or this loop. Okay. So I have something like this one now. I have something like this one. Okay. But what we have it here, ya shabab?
Feedback loop, maybe?
No, because it's the branch B is we should first eliminate the summation, right? Or the
We have a feedback.
or the pickup point.
you have here a feedback loop. This block with H2. Okay. But the problem, you have this pickup point at B.
Right.
Okay. And also you have here another loop. This one, G1 and H1, G2. But the problem, you have this summation.
Summation.
Yeah.
Can we move this pickup, the point B? Can you move it backwards, beyond or behind the summation point, or we cannot?
No, you cannot behind the summation.
Then
You
what?
cannot swap. You cannot swap between summation and pickup.
Only with blocks.
Yeah, the same. It should be the same. The same sort.
So we can move it to the right or the summation to the left.
Yeah. So we have two choice. Eitherwise, I move the pickup point B to the right here at YS, or I can move this summation here before this summation.
Okay, maybe we can move the summation. Maybe it's better.
Yeah, both. But here in the slide, I move this the pickup. Okay. So if I move the pickup here, okay. So here let's move this pickup. If I move the pickup, because here I have pickup point. So how many branches you have? You have to label the branch before you move. So this pickup is it has 3 branches. This one that's contain this block, and I have here another block. Okay. Also, I have here this branch between the summation and the pickup. Okay. So this represents the input. So this area, sorry. This area represent. I can do something here. Okay. So to this one. So to this pickup point, I have here this block at the output, and this also an output. This branch and output. You can look for the arrow or the direction. So when I move the block from output to the input, if I move this from the output to the input, so this input at this point will get the same gain. Okay? But the other output will get 1 over G. Okay, so just the other output, if this at the output, so the other output will get 1 over the gain. So in this case, if you look for this one, if I move B to this point, I cancel this. So here I have G4 plus G2 multiplied by G3, and at this branch, because this represents the output, I multiply 1 over G. So this will be 1 over G4 plus G2 plus multiplied by G3. Sorry.
Again.
Okay.
Just that's fine.
Yeah.
The output is related to H1, G1, G2.
This gain, ya shabab, this gain what located where at the output, yeah?
Right. The output is G4 plus G2 multiplied by G3, and the other output is H1 and G2.
Yeah. If you want to move this gain from this output.
From the output to the input.
To the input, and also you move it to the other output.
How?
If you move this summation before this one, it is theoretically that means we move this pickup before this one. So this block, so the input will get the same gain. If we have this the block now, the gain located at the output, so the input will get the same gain. Okay, you can see it. You can look. It's
okay.
But the other output,
H2 is the input.
Which H2?
No. Okay. I get.
هذا البوينت يا شباب. This البوينت is the input. هذا البوينت البسيطة. هذا between the summation and the pickup. هذا المفروض يجي هنا. You can look. You can see my mouse. المفروض يجي هنا. Okay شباب.
Okay.
So if the block, as we said, if the block at the output, all the outputs will get 1 over the gain, while the input will get the same gain. And in the opposite way, if the gain at the input, all the outputs will get the same gain, and the inputs will get opposite gain.
دكتور بالله سؤال معلش. الرولز هذه اللي بالسلايدز اللي الموف فورورد باكورد بيك اوفز هذه نحفظها ولا كيف؟
هو دائما تجيك تقدر تشوف هذا السلايد ما تقدر سلايد ثاني فتح تشوفوه ولا لا؟
هي واضح موجود.
سلايدين ولا نفس السلايد؟ انا فاتح سلايد ثاني تشوفوها ولا اللي هذا كتاب؟
اكزامبل 5 4 يا موجود.
انا فاتح الرولز الان تشوفوها ولا ضروري؟
هذا الرولز موجود هذه. هذه نحفظها ولا كيف؟
هذا الرولز يعني usually we give the rules in the sheet. Usually but you have to memorize يعني easy. شوف هنا البلوك see add the block at the input. If you want to move the block forward, so all the output will get the same gain. All the outputs will get the same gain. If the block at the output, like what we have in the example, the block now at the output, so the input will get the same gain, while the output will get 1 over.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. مازن اوكي؟ كله مازن. ترى ناخذ اتندنس الان. 4 مازن ايش يقول؟ ايش 4 هذه مازن؟ 4 يس اوكي. اوكي شباب. So after that يا شباب I have this loop. You can see this loop يا شباب.
Yes.
This loop is a feedback loop. Okay. I can combine this loop and I get, for example, I solve it using the feedback loop rule. After that, I can simplify this one. So what I will get this in this formula. After that, these two blocks will be in series. I have two blocks in series. So I just multiply the gain here. I will get something like this one. Okay. This one, G1 multiplied by G4 plus G1, G2, G3. After that, I can do this feedback loop because this represents G and this represents H. Okay. If I use the same formula, after some manipulation, I will finalize with this gain. Okay. So finally, I will have this the final loop or the outer loop, this unity feedback loop. So this represents the forward gain and the feedback gain equal 1. So in this case, this will be this gain multiplied over 1 plus this gain multiplied by 1. So we finalize with this final transfer function. So usually, Shabab, in this special case, the exam will be multiple choice, maybe multiple choice, but you have to show us your steps. So sometimes we want to ask you to select the correct answer. Okay, to select the correct answer. So please try and practice more and more in the solution of this block reduction. Okay, so if I want to summarize this one, the block reduction, it is a way to reduce the complexity of the network of blocks to a single block, and this block is represent the relation between our reference to the actual output. Okay, and what inside this block? The inside of this block is equal the total or the overall transfer function of the process, of the complete process. We can use different rules. We have 6 rules. We have it there in the table. Also, the main point I focus on, please move the summation toward the summation and the peak of point toward the peak of point. This will help you and to simplify, and your solution will go smooth step by step. And please also distinguish between the forward and the parallel loops.
دكتور Yes. If I move the pickoff towards the pickoff and the submission towards the submission, then
Yeah.
what is the benefit of this procedure?
Just to simplify, because as we saw here, يا شباب, as we saw here, for example, if you look for this example, you have this loop. You want to eliminate this loop, yeah?
Okay. Yes.
You cannot eliminate this without eliminating the effect of these branches. You have this branch.
Okay, but if I move the
If you
pickoff,
move, okay, if you move this pickoff هنا toward the summation,
yes.
هو لسه هي still inside the loop. أنت ما غيرت شيء. ليش غيرته؟
Okay. تمام.
You cannot swap between the summation and the pickoff. هيبقى عندك inside the loop. Still inside. You cannot do anything. But if you move this one in this direction, in the left hand.
So I combine this pickup with this pickup. I combine them both, or what?
Just switch or swap between. هنا هذه هنا هو كانت هنا البي أنا جبتها هنا.
Okay.
صارت عندنا اللوب clear. You can eliminate this loop now.
So I just switch the pickups. I just switch them.
Yeah, why we move it? Because I have the flexibility to switch between the summations and switch the pickups. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, خلاص. Okay, شباب. Any question here يا شباب? Question يا شباب before I go to the next topic. Question? Okay, شباب. So I'll submit this inshallah handouts. It's contain a lot of examples. Okay. Also I will support this with different handouts and the blackboard inshallah. We'll find it today. Okay, let's take another. Please go through all these examples because they use the same concept. They use the same concept. So the second method, it is called the signal flow graph. Okay. So these techniques, I think it is easier than the block reduction because it will help us to get the overall transfer function without do any reduction. يعني ما نسوي any movement للblocks, any movement للsummation. No need. Okay. It needs only to apply a formula. It's called Mason's formula. It's dependent on the gains of the forward branches, the gains of the loops, and something called the cofactor of these branches. And this, we can combine them in one formula to give us the overall transfer function without doing any simplification, without doing any math and what we call reduction. No need for the rules anymore. Okay, شباب? So we want just to identify the paths. If this path is forward path or this is feedback. Okay, if this represent a loop or this a parallel loop or this just a parallel loop. Okay, شباب? So in this technique, يا شباب, what we do? The main objective here, we should able to identify or define the loops and the nodes and the branches. You should able to do this one. After that, we apply Mason's gain formula to get the transfer function. Okay, this will be easy. Okay. Let's take this, يا شباب. So if you look for this example, يا شباب, this can be considered as a complex system. If you want, for example, to apply the block reduction technique, and for some students, maybe for the majority will be complex, difficult to get the transfer function. Okay. But there is a way I can convert this block reduction to a single flow. So if I have a problem, for example, in the block reduction, I just convert this block diagram to a single flow. After that, I can apply the single flow rules to compute the transfer function without do any simplification and reduction techniques. What's the signal flow يا شباب? The signal flow graph. So in the signal flow يا شباب, we represent any loop, any node. It can be a summation, the input, and the summations, and the pickoffs by a node. If I have a summation, just I label it by a node. If I have the input, just I label it by a node. Also, the pickoff point, I label it as a node. Okay. What about the gains? The blocks, ya shabab, if you still remember the blocks, we have it here. In the signal flow, we represent the blocks by a signal. Okay, we represent the blocks by a signal. Okay, so here GS is represent a block, so no block here. We just look for the blocks as a signals. Okay, so just will be a signals. After that, I can look for the block diagram and I combine. Also, I connect the forward paths and the forward and the feedback paths. After that, we can use the formula to solve this one. Let's take one example. So look, let's take this example. You can see this block here, shabab. Okay. So I will write the steps here, shabab. So label summation. A pickoff and the input. As I know. Okay, so the first step, ya shabab, we give or we label any pickoff or summation and the input inside the block diagram as a node. Okay, we give a node. Okay. After that, I give a number. These okay, so if you look here, for example, here I represent this input by a node, okay, and this summation by another node, and this pickoff point by a node. Okay, so this input is a node, and draw a node represent this summation. Also, I draw a node represent this pickoff point. After that, I give a number to this one. So here, for example, I can give number 1. So this will help you. This one. So here 1, 2, 3. It's better to give the numbers here as well. This will be 1, 2, 3. Okay, shabab. So I give the numbers here. Okay. After that, I will look for this one. So here I can see I draw the forward path. So the first step, I connect all these nodes forward path like this one. I connect this to this one, connect this to this one. After that, I give the gains. I will look here between these two nodes. If there is any gain, there is any block between these two, there is nothing. So the gain here will equal 1. So between the node 2 and node 3, what's the gain here, ya shabab? Between the node 2 and node 3.
The signal or?
Yeah, the signal.
GS.
GS. Okay. So the signal here represent the block. Okay. signal represent the block here, for example. So I just connect this one forward. I connect like this one. After that, I give the signal a value. Okay. So here, for example, the value here is equal 1, and here equal GS. So here I just write GS. The first thing, I write all the forward gains, the forward paths. After that, I will look for backward. Here I have backward. It's connected from node number 3 to node number 2. Okay, شباب. So I just draw a signal from node number 3 to node number 2.
Doctor,
Yeah.
one in the first about the first signal represent what?
Here,
Down as in
this one,
right on the right.
this one.
Yes.
Yeah, this represents the gain between the two nodes. I have here the node 1 and the node 2. What's the gain between? There is any block here?
No.
So the signal will be multiplied by 1.
So it will be always one if there is no block.
If there is no block, will be 1. Okay, clear?
Okay, clear.
Okay. The other thing, يا شباب, so the first thing we just label. I can direct this one. You can use your pencil. تماركر عليها هنا, تسوي دايرة هنا, تسوي دايرة هنا, spot here at this one and spot here. After that you give nodes to know how many nodes you have. Okay, تحط هنا بالقلم كده, one and this one and this one. After that you give a number in this one, so this will be 1, 2, 3. After that draw the signal flow, node 1, 2, 3. After that you connect them by the forward path like this one. After that you give the gains. This the gain here is equal 1, this is equal GS. And lastly you have to connect the loops if we have a loop. So I have here a loop is from node number 3 to node number 2. So I just put it like this one. Okay, شباب. So please here يا شباب, remember the trick here. We have in the block diagram we have negative feedback and positive feedback. Okay, so here in the signal flow, if we have negative feedback, just you multiply the negative by the feedback gain. Okay, so take the negative sign and you multiply it here by h. So here if you look for this example, I have here minus h. So minus h is coming from the minus of the summation. Okay.
دكتور
تفضل.
why it's minus? It's positive.
No, it is minus. Why positive?
The down sign is positive.
It is a negative feedback, Mishari.
Doctor, if we do it the previous way, it will be 1 minus G.
No, this
G
different
multiplied.
technique. This different technique.
I know, but to just compare them.
No, if you use this technique and the previous technique, at the end you will get the same solution.
Okay, but okay, I get it.
Okay. لأن هنا ما فيش summation. Summation هنا we replace the summation by a node. So where we have to put this negative.
So if the sign was negative, it should be H without a minus, right?
If the sign here is negative feedback.
Yes.
So here that means it is a negative H. Here. If the sign here is positive, that means it is positive H.
Doctor,
Yeah, تفضل.
ES represents the summation point. ES, the signal
Yeah,
error.
the error. Yeah, an error. Yeah, summation point.
So we just replace the blocks with an arrow going going
Yeah.
to a direction.
Replace the blocks by a sign, a signal.
An arrow or a small arrow, right? Like this.
Yeah, small. The arrow represent the direction of the sign. We have it here.
And what is the number one?
The number one is the input.
It is the input. But RS is the input, the node.
Yeah. We usually use the input, but the output we can ignore it. يعني. We can use it or not. Okay. Okay, شباب. We know يا شباب. This is summation. So the summation by default, all the terms must be positive. Yeah.
Yes.
So we get a negative here because H is negative. Okay, by default the summation is positive, so we get a negative here because H is a negative. So if we return back this process to the theory, we have to have negative H here. We have to have negative H because we eliminate the summation. So the negative is coming from H, from the sign of the gain H. Okay, شباب? This topic is very easy, شباب, easier than the previous one, but we need to focus. Okay, we need to focus. Inshallah, I will show you the handouts. I have all the handouts in my office, but I will try to give you a new one because I cannot go there, and even on the rules, you cannot attend to our offices. Okay. So inshallah, I will prepare some examples for you, like this one. But please, you can focus on my writing. If you understand, it will be good. Okay. See, the other technique, ya shabab, if you look for these blocks, we have these three blocks in series. Okay. So we give a node. We said we can give a node for the input. We give a node for the pickoff. We give a node for the summation. Also, if we have two blocks in series, and not in between, we represent this by a node. Okay, if we have two blocks in series, for example, this block and this block are in series, we represent the sign between as a node. Okay, so x2 here we represent by a node.
دكتور واللي have
Yeah. تفضل. تفضل. وين السؤال هنا؟ تفضل، عندي سؤال؟ عمر عندك problem with our presentation؟
قبل شوي كان يقطع دكتور ما بس رجع كويس.
الآن كويس؟
اي لا الان كويس.
لو عندك أي مشكلة تقول لي عيد السلايد، ما عندك مشكلة. أنا برفع السلايدات إن شاء الله أو submit this. If you have any problem, just you can have an office hour at night anytime because I usually stay at home. Okay, anytime if you are free, just send me a WhatsApp. After that, I can explain the example to you again.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome anytime. Just send me a WhatsApp, or WhatsApp will be better because usually I open this program not يعني usually online. Okay. Let's take this.
Doctor, we can address all these three books by one signal, right?
Which one?
We can replace all these three blocks by a signal by.
حنحل المسألة ولا بيجينا محدد السؤال؟
لو سمحت، ومن ايش سؤال ايش؟ What's the question؟
أنا
واحد من الشباب، واحد يتكلم. يلا تفضلوا، ما ميزت اصواتكم والله.
دكتور كان عندي سؤال على اللي قبل شوي.
اي
كنت اقول ان we can replace the 3 blocks by one signal, right?
replace. No. If we have
Replace the three blocks
if we have 3 blocks.
by one signal, right?
No. If we have هنا في السيجنال فلو or في البلوك diagram.
No, في السيجنال فلو.
No, في السيجنال فلو if we have 3 blocks in series, I have to put
In
a
series.
node between. Yeah. So this signal between the 2 blocks, I represented
Okay.
by a node.
Okay.
Okay. So I give numbers like this one. So this one will be node number 1. Okay. Here I should have node number 2. Here I have node number 3. Okay. Okay. So this it can be number 4 like this one. So if we have 2 blocks in series, I have to put a node between these 2 blocks. After that, so I have here, after that I draw the nodes. This will be node number 1. This will be node number 2. This will be node number 3, and this will be node number 4. Okay. After that, I can connect this forward path. So I connect this forward path to the output. After that, I represent the gains.
Well,
or rho for the gains. So here between node 1 and node 2, I have gain equal G1 here. Between node 2 and node 3, I have gain equal G2. Between node 3 and node 4, I have a gain equal G3. So this will be the signal flow that I have. واضح؟ اوكي. اوكي شباب. بدأ. Okay شباب, so please look for this example يا شباب. Can see this example?
yes.
Okay. So following our steps at the beginning يا شباب, you should label the nodes. يعني هنا تستخدم عليها ماركر بالقلم الرصاص, تحط عليها دائرة مثلا at the input. Okay. Here you can use your pencil to represent this as a node, and here use your pencil represent this as a node. Use a pencil represent this as a node. Use your pencil or pen represent this as a node, and this a node, and this a node. The first thing we take the forward path. After that, give numbers. Okay, give a number. So here I have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. Okay, and then after that, just you can draw this like this one. I have number 1, number 2, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this will be number 7. Okay, شباب. So after that, we go to the graph. I just draw a straightforward line. I connect all these the mean path like this one, and I represent or define the gain or the signal between these 2 blocks. So for example, I try to zoom in this. So here, for example, between node number 1 and node number 2, the gain is equal 1. Between node number 2 and node number 3, the gain is equal G1. Between node number 3 and node number 4, I have the gain is equal G2. Okay. Between the node number 5 and the last node, this will be the gain will G3. Okay. After that, I will look also here for the backward paths. Okay. Here I have these paths coming from node number 5, for example, to this node, and here I have a path from node number 3 to node number 5, and here I have a path from node number 4 to node number 3. like this one, and after that you define the sub gains. Okay, the sub gains for all these paths. You finalize with this formula. Okay, you will finalize with this one. Okay, شباب.
Okay.
We can take attendance يا شباب here because I think the time will be gone, so you have to take attendance.
دكتور نكتب بالشات هاي عشان الاتندنس ولا كيف؟
Yeah. ما شاء الله. زياد فيصل.
دكتور كم مرة نكتب هاي؟ كل شوي قاعدين نكتب ازعاج.
لا هاي في البداية وهاي في النهاية. أنت كم مرة كاتب هاي يا من هذا يتكلم؟
أحمد.
الله يحييك. أنت كتبت في بداية الكلاس صح؟
لا والله دخلت متأخر بس كني كاتب يعني. الحين قاعدين نكتب.
أنا عايز أعرف الشباب اللي كم اللي تدخل معنا في بداية الكلاس وفي نهاية الكلاس.
أنا داخل تقريبا بعد 8 دقائق يعني ما دخلت في البداية.
لا ما عندك مشكلة. أهم شيء you got something. I will submit inshallah the handouts and please go through these. If you have any question, please يعني connect me, WhatsApp or anything. I will solve you and solve the problem like the homework. Go through this and solve it, and we can discuss anytime. Okay. Inshallah, I will prepare. Yeah, I will prepare a quiz next week. Not this week. Will be next week. Only 20 minutes. Okay. So will be multiple choice, but you have to solve the problem. Okay, you solve the problem. After that, you select the correct answer.
Doctor, can you repeat what you just said?
Yeah, inshallah, أقول لك next week we will have a quiz on the block reduction and signal. Will be 2 problems. Okay, you can solve it. After that, يعني I will see it will be online or at home. Anytime you can solve. I will see. Inshallah, I will decide this later. So, any question يا شباب?
No, so far.
So you can leave if you don't have a question. You can go.
دكتور
This was the method.
Which one?
So we will present it like this only.
In the exam, you mean?
No, here.
Yeah, the present will be like this one. Yeah.
So is it now simplifying the whole process?
No. Is
Everyone.
everyone?
This was
Yeah.
the benefit from the block.
From what?
From the block diagram.
Yeah, the block diagram. We try to simplify or reduce the complexity of the system. It is a complex system. We try to get a relation between the input to the output. Okay, we
Right.
need to get the overall transfer function. This is the block diagram. Also, the signal flow will be the same things, but it use different technique. No need to use the roles. No need to move the blocks. No need to eliminate the summation or peak off. So we just use the formula, but you have to draw it correctly.